Who shot Tupac?
I already know who shot. I believe in karma. I believe in all of that.
We are here today to announce the arrest of Keefe for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Burn, motherfucker, you deserve to die. Talking about you getting money, but it's funny to me. All you niggas living bummy while you fucking with me.
Right after I heard Tupac got shot, and I was so weak, I damn near fell over. I immediately flew to Vegas, and I walked in the room, and I seen him laid out on the bed with all kind of tools in him. And his mom came over to me, and she grabbed me, she held me up, and she said, "Baby, you got to be strong." And I went and sat next to him and whispering to him, telling him I loved him and to hold on and he was gonna be okay. And even in that moment, his mom was thinking more about me than herself and showing me how to love strong.
Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc. So
didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there.
Keefe D and over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those things.
Makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious.
So, did he have jealousy? Yeah, he had a jealousy of Pac. But I think that it was more so that he knew Big was the meal ticket. And that Pac wanted Big to be with him with Thug Life, but he didn't have the money at the time. And when Big got the money from Puff, Pac gave him the blessings to go with him, but he also told Big that he had to watch Puff because Puff was gonna rob him blind.
Netflix made a new documentary series about Tupac Shakur's life and the mystery around his death. Instead of saying one person did it, the show looks at all the fights, friendships, and pressures from that time. It helps explain why people are still talking about what happened. The series doesn't give you one answer. It helps you understand why this mystery has never been solved and why certain names keep coming up. The documentary shows how Diddy became famous in hip-hop. This was way before his recent legal problems. An important part of his story is his difficult relationship with Tupac. As they both got more famous, they became symbols of the East Coast versus West Coast fight. The show uses interviews to explain how competition and broken trust turned their problems into a huge cultural battle. This led to decades of rumors and arguments about what really happened in Las Vegas in 1996. One shocking part comes from Kirk Burrowes, who used to be president at Bad Boy Records. He says Diddy was doing strange things around that time, hiring people, getting cars ready, and planning things connected to Las Vegas. Burrowes says these details still bother him, and he wonders why Diddy was organizing all this. He believes Diddy might have been involved in Tupac's murder. The documentary doesn't say this is definitely true, but it does show this as a serious claim from someone who says he saw what was happening. The series also looks at the bigger picture beyond just one bad guy and one victim. It suggests that as Tupac became more independent and powerful, it might have scared some people in the music industry. Instead of blaming just one person, the documentary keeps reminding viewers about the crazy environment, where fear, pride, and reputation were always crashing into each other. It asks a tough question. In all that chaos, who actually knew what would happen, and who gained something when violence broke out? The documentary also talks about Tupac's family's view. His death still needs to be investigated. Their message is clear. If we want the truth, we need to look at everything. That means studying the culture, the relationships, the people involved, and what happened during that time. Not taking shortcuts. Unanswered questions don't just go away. They get passed down to the next generation. The narrator says Tupac's brother seems to be carrying something heavier than just guesses. Like he's trying to share that one important detail has haunted him for years. It's shown as a memory that keeps replaying in his mind and pushes him to keep searching for answers. Because when you've lived through it, moving on doesn't make the questions stop. The documentary shows the Tupac-Diddy tension as a big reason things got worse in an already dangerous time. According to someone close to the family, the pressure increased as Tupac went his own way, and Diddy pushed Biggie to fame quickly. The show suggests that even if they didn't plan the same things, their clashing ambitions, egos, and feelings of betrayal created an atmosphere where violence started to feel unavoidable. It points to the 1994 Quad Studios shooting as a key moment. Police never officially connected it to Diddy or Biggie, but it made Tupac distrust them, and people still argue about it today. The series makes an important point. Diddy has always denied being involved in the Quad Studios incident, but the documentary includes different stories from music industry veterans who say that whole time period was full of rivalry and hate. By showing conflicting stories side by side, it becomes less about one simple truth and more about how 1990s hip-hop power really worked, where loyalty, ambition, and fear could mix together in ways that still don't make sense today. The documentary looks at confessions and claims made years later about the Quad Studios shooting, especially statements that added new names and reasons. The point isn't that one confession solves everything, it's that each new story becomes another thread in a web of competing tales. This shows how complicated and political this era became as more people tried to change their role in the story. The documentary also shows the denials, especially from important people who insist they had nothing to do with the Quad Studios attack. These denials don't end the debate, they make it deeper. When major players completely reject the claims, the story becomes a fight between different versions, each one with its own reasons, risks, and effects on reputation. The series argues that the real problem was escalation. Music and public statements made the regional tension worse, turning the East-West rivalry into something that felt personal, political, and dangerous. As things got more intense, small insults became public diss songs, and public diss songs led to real-world consequences. The documentary shows this as a system, where reputation was everything, revenge was expected, and the line between performance and violence kept getting thinner. When the documentary talks about Keefe D's story, things get even more intense. It shows that era as a time when pressure and fear weren't just in the background, they controlled everything. The story is used to show how quickly things could turn bad and how the industry's competition created situations where conflicts didn't stay just in the music for long. The documentary also goes beyond Tupac's death, suggesting that the same climate of rumors followed Diddy through other major hip-hop events. Whether the stories are true or not, the series focuses on the result. A culture where spreading accusations shaped what people believed, divided people into sides, and kept the public focused on a story of suspicion that never fully went away. From an investigation standpoint, the documentary explains why Keefe D became important. His family
acquitted of sodomy and weapons charges, Tupac was instead convicted of forcibly touching the woman's buttocks, a felony sex offense.
Famous incidents. The story shows how earlier raids, car seizures, and overlapping timelines kept pulling police back to the same group of names, especially when details seemed to match descriptions tied to key moments in both cases. The documentary then focuses on the night
heard from the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burrowes, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said, in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking out Tupac.
The documentary zooms back out to the bigger theme. Ambition, rivalry, and constant attention created huge pressure that kept the entire hip-hop world on edge, and still causes debates decades later. Finally, the documentary reminds viewers it's not only about the murder, it's also about relationships that looked strong from the outside, but may have been much more complicated behind the scenes. When examining Diddy and Biggie's friendship, the series raises uncomfortable questions about loyalty, ambition, and honesty. Suggesting the truth is somewhere more complicated than the legend, regarding the shaped by power as much as friendship. Murder in the end, the documentary paints a clear picture of 1990s hip-hop. Fierce rivalries, high-stakes tension, and relationships tangled with ambition and suspicion. It doesn't claim to prove who did wrong, but it shows why the questions never stopped and why the same names stay connected to the conversation. The series leaves viewers with a choice. Decide what you believe based on the evidence shown, the contradictions revealed, and the context of an era where music and real-life conflict were dangerously mixed together.